Hello Internet, I'm Mango Thunderslice, and today I want to talk about racism. Alright, so Loretta Lynch, the Attorney General under Obama in her last week of office, recently released a report about Chicago police tactics and racism, and in the report they came out with the statistic that cops in Chicago are 10 times more likely to shoot a black individual as they are a white individual, which that one statistic, without any other statistics in the whole universe in a vacuum of data, sounds very alarming. And, the purpose of this video is not to deny that racism exists. Obviously it does, and it does exist inside the police departments, but if you're going to make a serious claim and you're going to start lighting cars on fire and blocking freeways and, literally never stop talking about racism, you better at least have a coherent argument. Otherwise, you just look like a fool. So I'm gonna elucidate this point a little bit. So 10 times more likely to be shot by a police officer being black in Chicago than white. Okay, that's alarming. That's not good. However, being black, you are 15 times more likely, you're 15 times more likely to be murdered in general being black than being white in Chicago. So you're actually more likely to be killed by a person who isn't a police officer if you are black in Chicago than you are likely to be shot by a police officer, okay? And furthermore, the police officers on their side are 30 times more likely to be shot by a black individual as they are to be shot by a white individual. So that, it's hard to imagine the police officers not taking that data into account, that you are 30 times more likely to be shot by a black individual while responding to a police call as, a white individual. That obviously plays into your thinking. None of these police officers want to get shot. They value their lives as well. Okay? And another one on top of that, black individuals in Chicago are 20 times more likely to murder someone than a white individual, okay? So all of a sudden the 10 times figure doesn't sound as alarming when we look at the bigger picture, because the simple fact is, as many have pointed out, the number one enemy of the young black man is the young black man, okay? It's a gang war. It is a minor civil war on the streets of Chicago, Chirac, all right? It's a war zone. And while it's as bad as it is, it's not as bad as Iraq or Afghanistan or Syria or any other places where the United States military loves to go and just mess things up. That's still pretty bad, okay? So it's completely unreasonable to expect that the police officers are going to respond 1-to-1 ratio with violent force when they're being shot 30 times more often by black individuals in Chicago, okay? There is a very big cultural issue that needs to be spoken about in this if we're going to have any sort of legitimate conversation, because, all right, Black Lives Matter, of course they do. White lives matter, cop lives matter, frog lives matter, cow lives matter for that matter, and, it's important to recognize that there are causes to the violence. It's not just this wispful thing that happens from out of the ether and, it's simply because you're born with black skin, you're going to get shot. Okay. Cultural factors. All right. So many of these Black Lives Matter ginned up cases in the media, the black individual confronting the police officer was being extremely either shady or had a criminal record or what's his name? In Ferguson, he tried to grab the cop's gun, there's so many shady circumstances. And this is the thing, is that there are regular black people, all right, and they are a part of American culture, and they're great people, just like anybody else who's just trying to live their life and provide for themselves and provide for their family. And then there's another group of black-skinned individuals, and I won't use the word that accurately describes them, but suffice to say that they are not legitimate human beings in my eye. Some cultures are better than others. It's a simple fact that's got to be stated. And you know what? My attitude's a little colored right now, if you will. We just got our motorbike stolen. We bought it. We shelled out $1,000 for this thing to help us get around, in Long Beach down here. And like without even having it a month, it got stolen off the street in a high visibility area. And so that really sucks. Luckily, the police found it over in Compton. Yeah, the diverse neighborhood of Compton, right? And, so we got it back, and that's awesome. Totally grateful for the police's help on that, and unfortunately it was all busted up. These stupid gang members trying to, break into the ignition and break all the locks and everything. So we got to do a whole bunch of repairs. I walk out this morning from my apartment building, and there's like graffiti on the stairs, and like the tobacco from a blunt, like just thrown in like some flaming hot Cheetos in a flaming hot Cheeto bag. And I'm just thinking, oh yes, I'm sure this was one of the white stockbrokers down at the banks down the street who did that, right? Yeah, I'm sure that wasn't a black individual, and I do not believe, because there is no evidence to suggest that there is any genetic marker that makes one group of people more criminal-minded than another. It's simply a cultural thing. And so, it's completely unethical to be prejudiced or racist on the grounds that, white people or any other race are genetically superior to any other. Okay, that is fallacious, and we should all abhor that and, condemn that wherever we find it. However, it needs to be said that not all cultures are equal, okay? Some cultures are better than others. Rap culture is rape culture, and every single aspect of rap culture is anathema. It is antithetical, is the complete opposite of those things which make civilization valuable and worthwhile and livable. If we had an entire civilization where everyone was aspiring to be a gangster rapper, okay, that civilization would fucking collapse, okay, within a matter of months, all right? Because there would be no respect, there would be no trust. And already that's where we're at. We've slid into a society where we have to almost be a police state because there's no trust, okay? There's no way we can trust people. I mean, you can't leave your door unlocked. You can't let your kids play outside anymore. I mean, because there's fucked up people. And, it's... am I going to, say that, oh, you just got to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and, you make it through? Like, not necessarily. I understand that there's been a lot of historical disadvantages for people of the melanin dominant class, aka black people. Like, I understand. I mean, the Irish were enslaved too, but we had the advantage of having light skin, being able to easier assimilate into society. But for fuck's sake, it's been 100 goddamn years, okay? It's been 50 years since the Civil Rights Act. Anybody who's still complaining about institutional prejudice, you're literally just making shit up now, okay? You want to talk about prejudice? You want to talk about disadvantaged place in society? We are all getting raped by the banks. We are all getting raped by the government. We are all getting raped by the Federal Reserve. These bankers who just create money out of thin air and give it to themselves and their friends, inflating prices. Meanwhile, what we're getting paid down here at the bottom echelons of society is completely unable to keep up with the increasing level of inflation, of rising prices. And so they want to say, we need a minimum wage, increase the minimum wage. But really it's because the money ain't worth shit, okay? So we're all feeling the squeeze. We got to work harder and harder, run faster and faster just to stay in the same place, and we're not actually moving anywhere. And it's just like the only real way we can move forward from here is to have a common narrative, okay? To have an agreement that there is an American society, an American culture, and it has value, and we all need to agree on that. As long as we're still like, oh, there's the black culture, and there's the white culture, and there's the Asian culture, the society is going to splinter, and it's going to collapse, and it's not going to work out for anybody. So, there are so many amazing black individuals in the world, but there's also a lot of shitty ones, totally shitty people that are completely worthless, okay? Like the 4 teenagers, they're not teenagers, I'm not going to call them teenagers, the 4 black adults who got caught in Chicago torturing a special needs white kid just because he, must have said something in support of Donald Trump. They held him for 24 to 48 hours, tortured him, they partially scalped the kid, they cut into the freaking, fatty tissue of his skull, all right? And for what? For what? Because Donald Trump was elected president? You're pathetic, all right? And these people, these liberals, want to run around, me, oh my God, Trump made fun of a reporter for being retarded. No, he didn't, first of all. And second of all, what the fuck is worse, making fun of somebody or kidnapping and torturing somebody? For God's sake. I mean, it's like you guys are like, oh, the hate crimes are going to increase because Donald Trump is elected. All these black people and gay people and Mexicans are going to be oppressed. Meanwhile, there's been no evidence of that. Literally not one single instance of that. And yet we've seen YouTube and all these videos of flaring up of all these freaking crazed black animals. They're not humans at that point. They're fucking animals torturing people for what? For politics? Because your stupid, corrupt candidate, Hillary Clinton, lost, and you're afraid that you're going to lose some welfare? Like, get over yourselves, all right? I'm flared up right now, and rightly so, okay? I'm not going to apologize for my skin color. I'm not going to apologize for my heritage. I'm not going to apologize for my ancestors who were not slave owners. They were Irish. We came over to this country well after slavery ended, and we worked in the same rigged system that you did. And, you know, like, am I a trust fund baby? Hell no. I just worked on Saturday, a freaking 60-hour week, and, you know, it's basically, we barely have enough money to freaking pay rent. So you want to color me privileged or whatever? I'm grateful for my parents and the upbringing that I've had, and I have a stable psychological foundation to move forward and build my life, and I'm eternally grateful for that. And this is really what I got to drive home at the end of this point, is that the only way for black individuals to move forward and move ahead in society is to start from the ground up and raise better children, okay? You are raising shitty children. These fat black women in Walmart and their kids all running around and just screaming and knocking stuff off the shelves, and she doesn't care. She's not doing shit, all right? Just like, I wish I could call it benign neglect, but it's actually malicious neglect. And what are these kids? They grew up to be the gangsters, just running around shooting each other, selling heroin, selling coke, okay? Like, you want to pretend like all cultures are equal and all parenting styles are equal and all families, for that matter, are equal? No. Some parents are better than others. Some cultures are better than others. And it's not about genetics. It's not about skin color, all right? There are good black families, millions of them, just like there are good white and Asian families. And, you know, it's just... we have to know that there is a true religion on this planet, all right? I'm not a religious person, but I do believe that there is a meaning to life. I believe that the true and only legitimate family is a man and a woman. I'm not one who would ban gay marriage, but I do think that the ideal influence for a child is a loving mom and a loving dad. I think that 2 loving dads and 2 loving moms is infinitely better than single parenting, you know, and so on that grounds, I would never ban gay marriage. You know, I have no problem with people who are homosexual. It doesn't matter. But as far as what it takes to give the right influence to a child, a regular nuclear family, a mom and dad, and, you know, in the old days, it was the grandparents too. You actually had culture being transmitted through the family. Now we don't have the family. We got baby mamas, we got welfare, we got 50 Cent, we got freaking MTV to pick up the slack and chastise everyone for being too racist. It's so pathetic, okay? So you want to say you can't be racist because you're black? Go fucking fly a kite, okay? Most of the black people today are the most racist people in the world. They cannot get over the fact that they're somehow magically oppressed. And so this victim mentality keeps them ever chained, you know, because as soon as they get into a position where they could move forward, all of a sudden, you know, they screw it up somehow. And, you know, by lashing out and pretending like, you know, it's something that they did wrong, you know, the backlash comes down on them. And, oh, it's racism. Like, you can't take any criticism because you think criticism is racism. You're never going to move forward, and I got no sympathy for that. All right, so much love to my melanin dominant brothers and sisters of the world who are taking responsibility for their lives and doing everything in their power to bring the truth to those that are in their vicinity, you know, and do what they can to set their life up on a stable foundation so that when they come to the point of making new human beings, they will be in a good position to give those children everything that they need to be superhumans in this crazy, wild world that they're being born into. So that's what this is. It's not a message of hate. There's an anger in my voice because, you know, I got anger. There's just stupid shit happening, okay? Much love to all the people who are trying to build a nice civilization and who are trying to add to the trust in the world rather than add to the shitty little gangster rap bullshit that nobody fucking needs. All right, so that's what's up. Listen to whatever music you want, but be accountable to your influences and be accountable to yourself, because that's the only accountability that ever ultimately exists. So cheers to you all. I hope you have a great weekend. Much love.